Let's have a quick look around the GenCSS interface. It is a very simple interface. Once you are inside GenCSS, you have a couple of options by way of icons around the outside. The first of these is a file a folder option, and if we click on desktop and open, you'll see that we have a folder plus and a file plus appear. What that is that we've just set a directory, and within that we can actually set up a few folder options should we need. So new CSS files, and this is actually a folder, and I'll hit enter on that one. If I now navigate to that, I can select the file plus button, and now I can create a new project global file .css. Once I've selected onto that one, I can click on the icon here and actually connect to it. So that's how you can, within GenCSS, actually create new folders and arrange your files to some degree. On the bottom left, we have a return to the start page or project page, where you can connect to a different file, but you can also do that obviously through here. So some of these are redundant from Feud Studio, and the same system was carried across. Down to user preference would sort of dictate which ones might get removed, but at the moment all options are there. In the top left you have a user preferences options icon, and you can change your interface to suit you with regard to contrast or sidebar on the right or panel on the right, which some users do prefer. Interface size, so we can increase the size of the text on the actual interface, and typography wise, down in the editor, if you'd like to increase that, you can do so with this toggle. Everything after that pretty much is about the pretty colors that you might want to use. So have a play, get it how you like it, and then of course you can always reset colors to take it back to default. Other than that, all buttons aside, we then have the user interface. The most important button really is push to file. Some people have said, should it be save? And interestingly, it's been back and forth between that. Save, in my view, indicates that this has been saved. So all of the options have been saved. My trip up on that is that we need to remember that this is a live project file. We are connecting to a live project file, and anything you add into this UI and then you commit that to the, actually maybe it should be called commit. I value your feedback. If you commit that to the file or push that to the file or save it to the file, that is now the current version of the file, and there are no backups. So your backups should exist within your GitHub or whatever system you would like to use for version control. And it's important that that is remembered. The word save here makes me think that some people would have the idea that it's saving, and it's more that it's committing to the file or pushing to the file. So up here we have the push to file, commit to file, or the save button, and this will take everything that is currently within the UI and code that up, commit that to code within the actual live project file. Then beneath that, obviously, we do have the interface, and we will go through these in separate videos for each one. But essentially the idea is that you would navigate through these, commit your branding to, put your design system in place using, color pickers or input fields. It's important to understand that there are custom areas where you can add custom variables or tokens depending on where you are and what input you are in. Obviously, it's advisable to keep things very organized and consider specificity. So this would be an ideal place for primitive variables and not design tokens that might rely on those later on. So yeah, you do have the inputs available, but also the base UI for use there. Everything that you input here is going to get pushed to the file in their designated areas, and we'll take a look at that in just a moment. Down in certain areas such as typography, you'll notice that we have tabs and it gets a little bit more complex. It has been arranged to be as simple as possible, and generally you would tend to the global settings before getting onto more specifics. So as well, in the case of buttons and links, you can see that we have two tabs, buttons and links, and we tend to the global of each before we move on to the variants within those. Essentially, it is top-down organization, and just do not forget that you can always add in your own CSS in the given inputs. Down at the bottom, I'll mention this just because it's a little bit separate, is CSS Studio, and this is pretty much an add-on for convenience. This is where you can generate all manner of different CSS snippets and code, from typography to layout, layered divs and layered features, to simple gradients. This is where you can actually generate new ideas of CSS, and then you can input that into your custom utilities, which obviously pushes to the file. Okay, so that's generally the interface, and we'll go more in depth in other videos, but please do check out the release video for GenCSS, where I do a complete walkthrough anyway. Okay, then we have the preview. Now, obviously, this is it's a fantastic feature because it means that we can immediately preview and get an idea of our design decisions and what that actually looks like when we're choosing our variables and our variable values. Obviously, it's representative, and the idea is that as you select on the different tabs, it's going to take you to the relevant preview location. This is a browser type of, well, this is a browser, so you can't click on elements, but obviously anything you see or change in the interface would have an immediate result. Some of these obviously do require a click. So if we pop into spacing here and I change the scale, that's a click on the immediate scale there. So as I toggle that works. If we go to styling and depth, however, into a text field, I can input a number, but then I would need to press enter. Now, just put that right. Of course, to ensure that everything has actually gone to the file, we need to commit, push, or save, whatever you're choosing, and that would actually transfer into the file, and you'd be certain of that. Then we have the actual the global CSS. Now this is the output. The whole idea of GenCSS is that as you enter variables values into the UI, so whether that's your colors or your typography decisions, GenCSS is going to calculate a number of options around those values, input into scales and adjust them accordingly, and you'll see all of that enter into the global style sheet. Now you can change things directly in the code, so this is editable, and of course, with that being the case, I would say it's worth having some caution about it. If you are editing, just be aware that if there are differing values for anything that hasn't moved over to the UI, that once you click push to file, that is what will actually push to the file and save as that. But if we were to change something such as the layout there, if I click on the max width and I go to 1200, you'll see that immediately updates, and I could just go into the code editor and change that, and it's going to change in the UI, and of course I can confirm that with a push, commit, or save. It's important to remember that, again, this is made for local project work. Coders should not be afraid of the global style sheet. In fact, often this has been a manual process for many, or to have a template document that they then go through and edit. Gen CSS isn't looking to replace that with a UI. Many CSS frameworks, especially those in WordPress, keep the full global sheet behind closed doors, and we don't really become familiar with it or its layout. Gen CSS isn't looking to do that. It's just looking to be the generation tool for that initial framework. And of course, you can literally copy and paste this into any other project should you wish. So you may end up with a range of files that you keep as templates, and then you copy that into project files and use them as you will. It's important to remember though that you can always connect Gen CSS back up to a project file and alter everything in the UI, and it's going to update all of those values live on your project. That's how I use it, and it works very well. But obviously I express caution. If you're working on a live file, especially after updates, there might be some bits that change or need a check over. So just while sharing with you that this is an editable code panel, I just want to express a little bit of caution. This is a live editing document, but everything is bi-directional, and you will see the values immediately updating when you're changing them in the UI. A note on editing: if we were to edit some features, so we use some of the inputs. If I look for my cool text, you'll notice that this is edited within the user utilities start. So we have the Feud, it was originally a Feud front-end web development. We have Feud utilities end, and all of this really should be left as it is. So wherever you see that there is a front-end web development, or when it's updated Gen CSS start and end, it's best to really use the UI for that. Although it is editable, it's a good idea not to do that, obviously, and to let it take care of what it needs to put in place. But everything within the user utilities start and end at this point, obviously, we are free to do as we wish. It is our global style sheet. If you forget a curly closing bracket, that will mess everything up below that, and that's on you, I'm afraid. But yes, essentially you can edit anywhere between the user start and end, and just watch out for specificity, obviously. Okay, so I believe that's a pretty comprehensive tour of the actual interface. Obviously up for hearing any ideas about how this is working for you, and hope you enjoy. Right, on to the next video.